Good morning, classmates. Good morning, teacher. We're going to talk about English language vocabulary, native vocabulary, and the process of borrowing. The team members are Maria Fernanda Ayala, Alicia Diaz, and Cristian Romero. First, we're going to give you a summary of the topics. So the main topic is English language vocabulary, native and borrowed. So first, we're going to talk about English language etymology, the native words and the borrowed words. From native words, we have common Indo-European and common Germanic origin. Then we're going to talk about loan and borrowed words. Borrowed words can be oral and written and usually come from Latin, Greek, Scandinavian, and French, while loan words are translations and semantic loans. Then we have borrowed words from Celtic, Italian, and Dutch origin, then Spanish, German, Arabic, and Russian origin, and finally India, North America, China, Japan, Africa, Malaysia, Australia, Hebrew, and Polish. Then we're going to jump on the topic of assimilation of borrowing, in which we're going to give a small definition plus the three types of assimilation, which are completely assimilated words, partially assimilated words, and barbarisms. Then we're going to go to etymological words, in which we're going to explain the hybrids, doublets, and triplets types of words. And finally, we're going to conclude with international words, with a small definition and some examples.
English language etymology. The etymology studies the origin of words. The English language lexicon is formed by native words, loan or borrowed words. In the native words, we have the common Indo-European and the common Germanic origin. The common Indo-European has cognates in Greek, Latin, French, Italian, Polish, Russian, and others. Some words of the common Indo-European that form part of the English native words are kinship words like father, mother, son, nature like sun, moon, and stars, animal and birds like bull, cat, human body words like arm, eye, the verbs beer, come, sit, and the adjectives hair, heart, and pick. In the common Germanic origins, we have cognates in German, Norwegian, Dutch, and Icelandic. Some words are nouns as like summer, winter, storm, ice, rain, group, etc. Verbs like bake, born, buy, drive, hear, keep, learn, and others. Adjectives like broad, dead, deep, and deep. The 25% of the English lexicon are native words. Notwithstanding, the 80% of the 500 most frequent words are native words. So now we are gonna look at loan and borrowed words. So it is divided into borrowing and loan. Into borrowing, we have the oral and written borrowing. So the first one, the oral or spoken borrowing, is the result of live communication of different nations. And the written is foreign text which were translated into the target language. In the loan, we have the translation loan and the semantic loan. The translation loan are combinations formed from native elements according to foreign patterns, and semantic loan are native words developed new meanings under the influence of foreign language. So the loan and borrowed words are or form part of the 75% of the English vocabulary. Okay, so we have the Latin borrowing. In the Latin borrowing, we have three layers. The first one is an spoken borrowing. So let's look back at what means the spoken or oral borrowing. So it is the result of live communication of different nations. So the Roman conquest of the British island brought names of food like wine, butter, and cheese, households articles like kitchen, kettle, cup, and dish, like measures like pound, inch, civil and military constructions like meal, street, culp, and port. So here we have the second layer that is connected with Christianity. And some words are Greek, but they came into the English through the medium of Latin. As it was in the area of Christianity or Christianism, is the words were connected to it, to religion. So the words that were borrowed are about, altar, angel, anthem, candle, and canon. The third layer is the written borrowing. So let's look back to what is the written borrowing. The written borrowing are or is about foreign text related into a translator into the target language. So the words that were borrowed were words with abstract meaning and of scientific character. Some examples are Asian, idea, effect, fate, history, memory, to adopt, and to celebrate. Some peculiarities of the Latin borrowings are verbs ending in ate, verbs ending in youth, verbs and verbal nouns derived from Latin infinitival and particular forms, adjectives ending in and, adjectives in ior, words with v, and words with beginning in b. Then we have the Greek borrowing. It came into English through Latin. So some borrowing words are bookings, such as athlete, lexicon, idiom, scene, catastrophe, a catalog, mythm, rhythm, and theater. Personal names as Alexander, Catherine, Christopher, among others. So, some peculiarities of the Greek borrowing are the sound k, which is rendered through the letter combination ch in Christmas in character. The letter p is mute before s and n. Some examples are psychic and pneumonia. The sound is rendered in writing through ph, like alphabet and emphasis. The sound R by letter combinations are H, WRH in words like diarrhea and rhetoric. In the middle of the word, instead of I, Y is written in words like system and sympathy. The letter X is read as Z in words like xenophobia, xenon, and xerox. Next, we have the Scandinavian borrowing, which began during the occasional rates of the Vikings. So some borrowings are words such as egg, husband, root, win, anger, weak, lose, place names like Derby, Rugby, Althorp, Easthorpe, etc. Some peculiarities of the Scandinavian borrowing are some combinations in words that contain sk and est. Some examples are sky, skill, escape, scared. And e after k, like kettle, key, killed, and kid. Next, we have the French borrowing, which is subdivided into two main layers. The first layer, it relates to the government, the military, and the church because they were all dominated by the French-speaking North. So the terms borrowed from the French language, we could say that are formal words. So some words are religion terms like religion and clergy, administrative terms like state government, legal terms like court judge, military terms like army ward, educational terms like pupil and lesson, terms of art, architecture, and literature like art and literature, words denotating pleasures like pleasure and joy, and last, words denotating food and ways of cooking like beef and mutton. The second layer it refers to words which preserve the peculiarities of their pronunciation and spelling. Some words are machine, badgers, valued, knave, fatigue, and grotesque. Commercial terms like capital, manufacture. Political terms like capitalism, regime, and police. Military terms like blockade, corp, and marine. Terms of literature and art like critic, miniature, and memoir.
Now I'm going to talk about borrowed words from other parts of the world. So first we have Indian and Malaysian words. These words usually have the combinations PH, KH, and EAU in their root of their words, meaning that these words are not from English, but rather they come from borrowed countries. So words like jungle, khaki, shampoo, and bamboo are not native. From China and Japan, we have words that are related usually to food, medicine, and clothes. So we have words like ginseng, silk, kimono, jujitsu, and geisha. From Australia and Polynesia, we have words that are related to animals and that describe external events. Words such as boomerang, kangaroo, tattoo, and taboo. From Africa, these words are usually related to animals and cultural programs that are from this country. Words such as chimpanzee, gorilla, among others. And from North American Indians, these words usually describe unanimated objects, animals, and fruits. So we have words like moccasin, opossum, pumpkin, etc. As a side note, we know that English has some Hebrew words that are related to the Old Testament. So words like Messiah, Amen, Hallelujah, among others. Also Polish, Polka, and Hungarian words such as goulash, which is a dish that is prepared in those places. Now we have the assimilation of borrowing. Borrowed words can usually conform phonetically, graphically, and morphologically to the standards of the received language. This is called assimilation of borrowing, and it adapts depending on how often it is used in communication. So there are 3 degrees of assimilation. The first one is completely assimilated words. These words usually don't feel foreign because they have been used for a long time in the place to which it was borrowed, and it is used in everyday conversation. So we have words like from Latin origin like wall, cup, and plate, and from Scandinavian origin such as give, take, and get. Then we have partially assimilated words. These usually are divided in 4 aspects with one main theme, words not assimilated. So the first classification is words not assimilated semantically. They are not assimilated because they denote a specific geographic feature that cannot be replaced, and they are usually a connotation for a culture. So we have words like toreador and sombrero, which come from Latin, as well as shack, which come from the Vikings. Then we have words not assimilated grammatically. They retain their original grammar form. So words like phenomenon, phenomena, crisis, creases, and words like that. Then we have words not assimilated phonetically. They are foreign words from the 19th century, usually from French borrowing, that still maintain the same pronunciation as in their original language. So words like fiancé, machine, among others. Then we have words not assimilated graphically. These are mainly Greek and French origin, and they are borrowed from the way they were spoken. So, for example, from French borrowing, the last consonant is not pronounced, so it is difficult to assimilate. So we have words like bouquet, valet, chemistry, among others. And finally, we have unassimilated words, or also known as barbarisms. These are not assimilated in any way or form, and they feel foreign and are restricted in usage because you can only use it when in a specific context. So we have words such as alter ego, which is usually to talk about psychological features, and we have the word dolce vita, which is usually used in proverbs in Italian. Now we have etymological words. There are three types of etymological words. The first one, etymological hybrids. These are words made up of elements which originate from different languages. There are thousands of hybrid words in English, which are a combination of native morphemes with morphemes of Latin, French, and Greek. So for instance, we have the word fruitless. Fruit comes from the root in French, and the word less is a suffix that is native to English. That means not having or lacking of. Now we have etymological doublets. Etymological doublets are two words of the same language which were derived by different ways from the same word and different form, meaning, and usage. So we have, for example, the Latin verb facere, which gave rise to two different English words, fact and fit. In addition, group of two words can be doublets when they get shortened. So we have the word offense and fence. They both mean the same. The difference is in the context it's being used. Now, there are four types of etymological doublets in English. So the first type is that one word is native and other word is borrowed. So the word is like. This is a prefix that is native to English, while like, it comes from the Latin word. Now we have the second one, which is both words are borrowed from different language. So camera and chamber are both words that have been used for a long time in English, but they come from the Latin and French root. Now we have the word, both words are borrowed from the variants of one language or are borrowed from one language twice. So the word discuss and discs, they both come from Latin and they are used in different contexts. Now we have the word develop. One word develops from one native word. These are usually words borrowed from the Old English and they are purely created by the English language. So the word grubble is an English word that has still been used and it comes from the Old English. And finally, we have etymological triplets. Etymological triplets are groups of three words of common origin. So words like to capture, to catch, and to chase have the same root, but they are used in different contexts. And finally, we have international words. International words are words that are borrowed from one language into several other languages and they become international. In other words, these are words of identical origin that can occur in several languages as a result of simultaneous or successive borrowings from one ultimate source. So we have words such as laptop, DVD, jazz, which are borrowed usually from Latin and Greek, but also from English, words like alcohol, algebra, bar, and
to continue with this position, I'm going to talk about Celtic borrowings. Celtic borrowings are more numerous and they came into the English language from Scottish, Irish, and Welsh, with words such as gland, flannel, lock, shamrock, and slogan. Some Celtic words came into English via French, with words tunnel and carry. Celtic elements are preserved in place names. Some British rivers contain the Celtic words. For example, London is of Celtic origin. Next, we have borrowings from Italian language. Started in the period on Renaissance and is divided of 7 groups. Words from art, architecture, music, and literature, like opera, concert, balcony, and corridor. Military terms like alarm, campaign, and attack. Names on food like spaghetti, macaroni, and pizza. Festive terms like confetti, custom, and carnival. Religious terms like cardinal and Madonna. Words denoted of crime like vendetta, contraband, bandit. And finally, banking terms like cash, debit, credit, and deposit. Next, we have Dutch borrowings. Dutch borrowings are connected with a heaving, like to gloss, spool, and stripe. Safari and shipbuilding, so like a deck, Dutch, skipper, and dock. And especially painting, like landscapes, island, and to edge, and everyday matters. Spanish and Portuguese borrowings. It's developed in 16th and 19th centuries Portuguese navigators and the Spanish conquistador introduced words such as garf, alcove, and bizarre. Spanish borrowings are connected with the national traditional activities, social and political reality. Next, we have German borrowings. Starting in the 16th century, the Germans gave the English language a number of geological terms such as zinc, quartz, calcite, cobalt, wolfram, and nickel, and some biological, chemical, physical terms, and terms of other sciences. German borrowings are words denoted social, political, and philosophical terms like objective, determinism, intuition, dialectic, and transcendental. Arabic and Persian borrowings. It developed in the Middle Age and gave the English language many medical, astronomical, mathematical, botanical, and chemical terms like serum, algebra, coffee, spinach, alcohol, arsenic. Many other borrowings are connected with Arabian reality, like giraffe, zebra. Next, we have Russian borrowings. The process of borrowings from Russian started in the reign of Ivan the Terrible. Early Russian borrowings reflect the peculiarities of Russian reality, like vodka, ruble, steppe, and troika. With the beginning of the English colonial expansion in the 16th and 17th centuries, many words penetrate into the English vocabulary from the language or colonial countries.